My name is Ms. Hayes, and I am the cashier here at Nimitz High School. And today I've been asked to speak about cell phones and the issues that may be within our school district and within our students' educational purposes. I do, on an average, carry a number of cell phones that are confiscated during the day and collect the $15 fee at the end of the day. I do come with conflicts with some students sometimes because they don't understand that this is an educational facility and a social gathering for communicating throughout the school day via text messaging and Twitter and etc. There are some issues that happen with that. But on the average, I collect at least $200 to $300 a week on cell phone fees. And these fees do go back into the school. We use this money to buy badges, lanyards, necessities that the students use on a daily basis. So it's not money that I have been falsely accused of spending personally on myself, which is just not the case on this situation. But you had a couple of questions you wanted to ask me?
Yes. First of all, can you go without your phone?
I can go without my phone.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I can.
What observations have you made about the students and the phones?
Well, my observation of the students and the phones is, because I'm not in a classroom, but I do enter classrooms from time to time, I do see that there is a lot of social networking going on in the classroom, where to me, you're in the classroom to learn whatever subject of education that classroom is supposed to be providing you. I understand that some teachers do allow students to use their phone for educational purposes, and I'm all for that because that's what technology has offered us. Back in my days, it was just book and writing and libraries. But so I do see some advantages. However, I think that sometimes that situation is taken advantage of. People are sociably emailing and texting each other via the phone as opposed to working on their grades and working on their assignments. And then the repercussions are, the phones get confiscated, they come to me. It's an ongoing rotation of issues that keep going. I think it's okay to have a phone, don't get me wrong. I think everybody should have a phone if they want one. But you need to understand that there's a time for social graces and there's a time for education. The conversations you have that seem to take preference over your education are that for that moment only. Your education is for your future. So you need to think of, I seem to think that they need to think about stuff like that. But I'm of a different generation.
Okay. So would you say that the social networks we have today have an effect on people?
Well, of course they do, because you can use there's so much out there that we can use to educate ourselves, to make ourselves aware of a whole bunch of different situations. And of course it's out there to keep in contact with your family and your friends and just social networking, and it's all good. I mean, the world now is all about technology, but take advantage of it by all means. To abuse it, there has to be some limitations. Again, if this is a school environment, this has to be a teaching environment, not a social environment. You do have passing periods, you do have lunches, and you have evenings that you can communicate. But when you're here, I think the technology that the cell phones give these kids now does hamper their education some. My observation.
Okay, and so would you say that technology like this, like these, like cell phones, computers, iPods, do you think they're a problem?
I do think they're a big problem. Because, being a social butterfly in high school is a big thing. Being in the groups that you want to be in, being in the environment of knowing everybody's happenings, or what some people would call in their business, it does cause some problems, because we have situations where students will literally fight for those phones. They don't understand. I have to have my phone. I have to have my phone. Well, you know what? If you didn't have a phone, would you still be able to function? Of course you can, because you weren't born with a phone in your hand, so you can live without a phone. A lot of times I get students that come in here and will just literally refuse to give me a phone, and my logic to that is, you're standing here fighting with me about giving me a phone. And for one thing, I'm not the one that even confiscated the phone, but yet I'm going to tell you that phone does not feel how you're fighting so hard for it. It's just an object, it's irrelevant. It doesn't have it doesn't feel you're fighting for it. And of course I get the same excuses all the time. Well, it went off. I wasn't listening to music, or I didn't have my headphones into the phone. I just have them on my ear. Well, I mean, for me, it's like, how would you want? I couldn't see myself wanting plugs in my ear all day long. But then I'm of a different generation. It is all about it is. But yeah, I do think that that is an issue, and I think it needs to be addressed heavily because to me, education is what you need 10 years from today. Your social butterfly status is irrelevant because 95% of the people that you meet in school, you'll never have a relationship with them outside of school. You know, so don't let a cell phone or a social butterfly status keep you and rob you of your education and your future. Because again, this time of their lives is only temporary. It only sets you up for what you should have in the future when you become real adults and you go out into the real world. You know, so there's some issues there I think need to be addressed, and I get it, they want their phones, and I don't have an issue with kids having phones. I think everybody should have a phone if they can afford it and they know how to use it, but abusing it is a whole different story.
Right. And one last question. You said the problem needs to be addressed. How would you personally address the problem? How do you think it should be addressed and bettered?
Well, if we have it mandated in we have a code of conduct book that clearly states, and the student and the parent sign it at registration, and it says no electronics out, no this, they will be confiscated. If that's what is written by the board of trustees and that's what they say that we need to do, it needs to be mandated. You need to do what it said that should and shouldn't be done. We've got over 2,000 some odd kids in this faculty and staff. We can't get everybody, but if we happen to catch you but this person walks by, don't be upset because I caught you because you saw someone else walk by. Someone else may be catching that person, but we need to implement the rules and stay on top of it. Be firm. We have to be the adults here, and the only way for our students to get educated is that we have to give them examples of direction and rules of regulation of life. Because if the rules and regulations here are not addressed and kept into content, they're going to leave this school at graduation and think that that's how the real world is. Because you can't get away with what you want to hear and then not prepare yourself for what is reality once you walk the stage and you receive your diploma and you become an adult. So I think we need to stick real firmly on confiscating the phones, the headphones, the iPods, whatever it is that they use. This is an educational facility, not a social environment.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.